Good evening, this is the Dean of All Things Spicy with Conjured Vapors Peppers, and I'm here to do a video on how to pot up brand new pepper seedlings. So many growers out there are asking about when to pot up their seedlings. Many people answer when it gets bigger, when it gets stronger, when it has 3 or 4 sets of true leaves. It doesn't have to be that way. So I do a mass planting style where I do 5, 6, sometimes 10 seeds in every single cell of a seed tray. So when your pepper seedlings are popped up, they really shouldn't have a humidity dome on them anymore. And so how I fix that problem is I pot them up right away. As you can see right here, my seedlings are only at the cotyledon stage. They don't have a single true leaf. They don't even have a bud for a true leaf. They're literally right at the cotyledon stage. So I have been doing this for years, 4 years now, and I have 100% success rate. I have not lost a single seedling to transplanting this early in their life. So I promised a friend of mine that I would show how to do that today. So I'm going to show you. All you need is a small container with some soil, seed starting mix. I prefer Pro Mix BX. A chopstick. It's a big toothpick. A chopstick or something similar with a very, narrow point. Doesn't have to be toothpick narrow, by the way. And your plant. And that's it. So literally what I do is I take my chopstick, not toothpick, Dean, and I gently grab one of the cotyledons, and I take my chopstick, and I go down beside the plant. And I just loosen the soil right around the sides of the plant. You want to get it down in there pretty deep. And then you just want to rock the chopstick back and forth. You don't want to have the chopstick touch the plant though. Just rock it back and forth. Sometimes you might have to go around it in 2 or 3 locations to get it loose enough. And then once it's starting to loosen, all you got to do is gently pull up on the cotyledon. Your plant comes very cleanly right out of the soil with a teeny tiny bit of root on there. And you take your new container, make a hole just big enough for that root. My soil's very dry, so it's hard to make a hole. Set it in there and gently push the soil up around the root. So there you go. One freshly transplanted, brand new pepper seedling. This one is a Ahi Fantasy Stripey. So, notice how that stem is very long. So, pepper plants, just like tomato plants, can grow roots from the stem. Not all varieties can, but macadams absolutely can. Some chinants can, some annuums can. It all depends on the variety. Some can and some can't. Well, they all can. Let me rephrase that. They all can. It's whether or not they do so with ease, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this container with soil all the way up to the just below those cotyledons. Give me just a second. I'll be right back and I'll show you. And there you go. So this Ahi Fantasy Stripey went from having about an inch and a half long stem to literally being just a hair above the soil surface. And this plant will grow beautifully. So now all you do, take your watering bottle. This is actually the only time that my plants ever get top watered. Only when I pot them up. They only get bottom watered for the rest of their life. So all you do is you take your water bottle and you wet the soil around the stem of the plant so that the soil settles in nicely right around the roots. Well, at this stage, it's root, singular. All it has right now really is the radical. It might have a couple root hairs coming off the radical, but usually at this stage it's just the radical. And that's it. And I give it quite a bit of water at this stage because I want to make sure it's truly settled in there as nicely as it can be. I do it until it's dripping water out of the bottom. And that's it. Here in about 4 or 5 days, for some people it might be less, depends on your humidity level where you're at. Here in about 4 or 5 days, I'll put it in a little dish with water in the bottom, or another solo cup with water in the bottom. Maybe a marble in there. That way there's some space between the bottom of the first cup, outside cup, and the inside of the outside, and the outside of the inside cup. That way, when the water level does drop below, the roots can still get oxygen. You want to make sure your roots are always getting oxygen, so you make sure that in between waterings, the soil is fairly dry. You don't want it to be bone dry, but fairly dry. So that's it. That's how you pot up pepper seedlings. Many people say second set of true leaves, third set of true leaves, fourth set of true leaves. Honestly, I do it this way because the less you disturb the roots, the more healthy the plant will grow. If you're waiting until that third or fourth set of true leaves, or even the second, you've got a lot of root mass. And you're having to really mess with that root mass if you're separating out your plants. That was it. Ahi Fantasy Stripey ready to grow. I'll keep you updated. This is the Dean of All Things Spicy with Conjured Vapors Peppers. Have a beautiful night. I'm out.